are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. Your hosts are Glenn and me, Wole. Ray and Mo are out. What is good, Glenn?
Nothing much. Everything is wonderful, man. We're getting closer to the NFL draft, and the Washington Commanders can go ahead and pick who they want to pick, and so we can stop speculating. I like to see it get done. I want it done. It seems like this offseason has been long already. It's been long.
You're right, man. It's super long. I feel like usually the offseason, football tends to, like, the offseason goes quick, but this one seems real long.
This one seems long. I'm ready for the Commanders to do what they do. So.
Me too. Before we get into our, our show topic, hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Errrything. Also, tweet us at ABG_Errrything. Hit us up on IG at ABG_Errrything. I like our All Burgundy and Gold Errrything Facebook page. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold Errrything YouTube channel as well. All right, man, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We are going to put out our Commanders mock draft. You know what? So we had folks on our YouTube channel saying, like, when are you guys going to put out a mock draft? I was like, that's a good question. When are we? So I was like, you know what? No better time than today. You know what I mean? To do this. So we're going to do this for y'all. We're going to give y'all our mock draft. I'm going to start first and give you my mock draft for the Washington Commanders. Let me find that clip. Hold on. If I can find it. I thought I had it. Hold on. Right, here you go. I'm acting silly. Sorry, y'all. All right, Wole's mock draft. Here we go. All right, first round pick. I'm going with a quarterback, Drake May out of UNC. Second round pick, 36 pick, Tyler Guyton, a tackle out of Oklahoma. I like him a lot. I just think that I like his footwork. Reminds me of a poor man's, because I live in the past, a poor man, Trent Williams. You know what I'm saying? That was my guy. The second round pick, Kingsley Suamatia from BYU, offensive tackle, athletic tackle. This is one of my favorites actually. Here is the third round pick, number 67, Jonah Ellis out of Utah. Had 12 sacks in Utah, and is a guy that has a motor and has a awesome spin move. And I'm gonna show you a clip of that when we talk about some of these picks. Third round pick, Cam Hart out of Notre Dame, cornerback. Long, lengthy cornerback. Seems like he fits that Seattle Seahawks, Dan Quinn type of corner. That type of corner he can bring here to DC. And also he did a decent job against my guy Marvin Harrison Jr. I talk highly again about Marvin Harrison Jr. Third round pick, Peyton Willis out of North Carolina State, a tackling machine. Fifth round pick, Javon Solomon out of Troy. One of the best sack dudes in the country. I want to say he had like 18 sacks in the country. I could be wrong. About to say 18 sacks last year in the country. And fifth round pick, Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson, was a do-it-all running back out of Clemson and can catch the ball out of the backfield. So it's another guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. Somebody use on third downs. And the seventh round pick, Jalen Carles out of linebacker. It's really a safety linebacker. He's a safety, but I can see him being moved to linebacker out of Missouri. So those are my individuals that I have for the Washington Commanders. So, Glenn, first off, any thoughts on that, my man? Before we get into
I thought you did. I thought you took more linemen than I would have took early on. You took a lot of linemen there. And one thing I did notice from your list, there's no tight ends, right?
Yeah.
You took the linemen there, but again, even with our list, my list, your list, the quarterback is different. I've been battling between two guys, and I did my list based off who I thought the Commanders would pick. I am a Drake May guy, right? Yeah. I'm a Drake May guy, but I think
let's put your list up there. Let's put your list up there too. Go ahead. I think
they're gonna pick Jaden Daniels, right?
Okay.
I do think the Washington Commanders pick Jaden Daniels, number one pick, for several reasons. One, because it is flash. Two, it brings excitement back to DC. He is a player who could be electric. And he also is a player where if you have a bad offensive line, if your line haven't gelled together, he can still beat people with his feet, right? And I'm not saying that Drake May couldn't, but again, Jaden Daniels. Then I would put Kool-Aid McKinstry from out of Alabama, right? If he's still on the board as a cornerback, you have to take him. Washington needs outside help. We don't know what Forbes' mindset is going to be at. Fuller, I think Fuller's gone, right? Fuller's gone. So
He's still not. Yeah, he's gone. Fuller is
no,
gone.
he's still
Sorry,
there.
Fuller's gone. Yeah, Fuller's gone. You're right. You're right. Fuller's gone.
Fuller's gone. Yeah, Fuller's gone. So you need some outside help on the corner, and I think Kool-Aid will be a good guy. I think my steal will be Roger Rosengarten out of Washington, right?
Yeah.
He played in front of Penix, and I think he will be the guy. Good footwork, feet move, real good footwork. Will be able to probably end up getting in a spot, but you need some depth in that spot, and it's not bad for a young guy who probably could slide over to be your left tackle sometime. I mean, of course, he's not a Trent Williams, but you can develop good footwork, a big guy, and I think he has the opportunity to do that and move into that spot. With third round pick, the 67th pick, if I'm Washington, I'm going if he's still on the board. Jatavion Sanders, right, out of University of Texas.
I thought about getting him too. I thought about it, but I didn't. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, now you got Jatavion Sanders. He is your big play receiver, your athletic tight end, like you see in the league. Your Travis Kelce type guy. He had 45 catches this year, 682 yards, 2 touchdowns. Got a skill set of a receiver. I'm not sure how much his blocking is in question, but again, you can teach blocking, right? You can teach blocking and move on him. Cameron Kitchens, all right? He's out of University of Miami. When we talk about University of Miami safeties, right, only one comes to mind, right, and that's Sean Taylor. I'm not saying he's a Sean Taylor, but I can say this, that he is, after losing Cam Curl, this guy is a ball hawk, right? He's like a center fielder. If you ever watch him play, I wish I could pull some highlights up, but he covers ground real quickly. He goes sideline to sideline. Losing Cam Curl is a big deficit for the Washington Commanders. I know they picked up Jeremy Chin and some other people, but I like Kitchens out of University of Miami, and I think he can play a big role if he's on the board when his team picks and selects. Jalen Polk, guys I'm familiar. Third round, 85th pick. If he's still on the board, if you watched him play this year with Washington, he is that receiver that Washington needs to get down the field, right? You have a Terry McLaurin, which is great. You have a Jahan Dotson, but Washington doesn't have a receiver who can fly. You know what I'm saying? They have a receiver who can stretch the field, and I think Jalen Polk can do that. End of the season this year with 69 receptions, 1,115 yards. Inside-outside game. Like I said, these guys can blow top off, right? Be a good playmaker all over the field. When I look at him play, I look at his level of play. I'm not saying he's Michael Irvin, but he gives me a little bit of swagger like Irvin had coming into the league when he got a good mindset, right? And we know how that turned out for Michael Irvin. Yeah. So again, and my third round pick at 100, right? This is where I go to. You have to go D-line. I went Mason Smith out of LSU. 28 total tackles this year with upside. 28 total tackles this year, 4.5 tackles for a loss, 2.5 sacks in 2023. Big guy, right? Very aggressive, very emotional. And again, we talked about it in our past episodes. You don't know what Jonathan Allen or Deron Payne is going to do this year. They got money, but again, you need as much defensive lineman as you can to rotate them and get them in. And then what's better to have a third round pick, a young guy learning behind the Alabama wall, right? Learning behind a Jonathan Allen, learning behind a Deron Payne, so he can move over and move up, so he can learn there. And again, SEC guy, right? SEC lineman. Then I went offensive lineman Isaiah Adams, 5th round, 139 pick. Isaiah Adams, he's out of Illinois. Big guy. Did very well at the Senior Bowl this year, right? Did very well at the Senior Bowl this year. Good, could play guard. Which I think Washington needs some help with guard. If he can't get into the starting lineup, then you have a serviceable backup, right? We know sometimes the linemen don't make it in Washington, but you have a serviceable backup, somebody that you can teach, somebody you can learn. Could be a top 100 pick, but I like Isaiah Adams, good young guy, good footwork, and be able to protect the line. Then I went my 5th round pick at 152. I went Breon Jackson, right? Breon Jackson out of Washington State. A good edge rusher there. He had 14.5 sacks, right? During the time with the Cougars, he had 14.5 sacks. He ended it with 21 tackles for loss. He's about 264, 265. Good quick guy, can get off the line. So I went there. And then the last pick, man, round 7, pick 222, Jawar Jordan, right? Jawar Jordan out of Louisville. Running back. I think Washington needs that running back room. Need another guy in that running back room. So I think Jawar Jordan could do that. I know you got Brian Robinson Jr. You have Chris Rodriguez. You got Eckler all right, who's been added. But you have a guy who can come out of the backfield who averaged 11.7 yards per reception, and also averaged 6.2 yards from the ground. So again, he'll be a bonus in the Kingsbury system if Kingsbury could somehow pick him up. And those are my draft picks for Washington Commanders, man.
Yeah,
Your
that's
thoughts?
good. Yeah, I liked him, man. Can never go wrong with Jay Daniels, man. I'm not gonna be one to knock the Daniels selection. I think that's a guy that that a lot of people think the Commanders will take. I like the tight end of Sanders. He's a guy that I do think I actually was thinking about getting him too as well, but I was like, I think Washington has so many like young tight ends. I'm putting in Cole Turner and all that. And I was thinking to myself, like, who knows with
Yeah.
this regime, what they're going to do with them, or even like Amari Rogers and those kind of guys. Zach Ertz can learn. So I was thinking to myself, like, okay, will they try? They have so many needs, so many holes, and so many needs. Like tight ends is an important need. Don't get it twisted. It is. So I wasn't sure. I didn't tight it. Cornerbacks, I was like, yeah. I just felt like I think quarterback was a good pick too, because obviously you're trying to think about what this team, like Dan Quinn is built on like secondary play. So I liked your picks. You know what I mean? I liked your picks. I felt like they're solid. I think, like you said, man, you went to the your thought process was direction of who you thought they were going to get, not who you were in favor of. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
mine was too. I mean, I think people like there's a couple. I felt there was some bias. I won't lie to you. Like there's a couple. Not the Drake made one. I feel like I go wishy-washy with that one. I feel like it was just this team isn't in a win now mode. I feel like this team is on a true rebuild, and I feel like Drake may pans out further down the road, and I feel like that's cool. Like you're in rebuild. This team isn't going to win next season. They're not expected to win next season, so I'm
Yeah,
cool with that.
my thing with Drake, and we talked about it on our podcast. Drake, his indecision sometimes he has some bad interceptions.
Yeah.
Uh, and like I said, I think Jaden can get moved to things with his feet. And I'm like you. I seesaw. I swear, you ask me tomorrow, it may be Drake May. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
2 weeks from now, it may be Jaden. 2 weeks from now, we already know. But again, be Jaden Daniels. But again, I like Drake. Drake stays there in the pocket. Drake does what he needs to do. I mean, he can move a little bit with his feet, as you see it now. He moves around. He finds a receiver. Eyes stay downfield. So again, you have that. I don't think they can go wrong either way.
I agree. I think to your point with Jay Daniels, you got a guy who I think throws a nice deep ball. Like he has a good touch on the deep ball. He catches you on stride. I think there's a difference. Like if you look at some of these plays, and which I like about in these plays that we're seeing that there isn't that much separation. He can still find his receiver, but a lot of those plays that these receivers get a bunch of separation. This one, that throw there, limited separation. So that's good. It's just a good thing to see. And obviously, what he brings to the table, his dynamic running. This is the most important thing I feel like in his skill set, which is very comparable to say an RG3 to a point where if he's not all the way set as a passer in the NFL game, because the talk is that you see him, he throws a lot outside the numbers, but he doesn't throw a lot in the middle of the field. If he's having issues with that, if he's gonna have issues as a passer in general, like he still has those legs to kind of stall time. It's the same reason, like for the Colts and Anthony Richardson, who wasn't the greatest passer as a youngster, but his legs were his running, his mobility can stall time for him to develop as a quarterback.
But see, that's my thing with like Anthony Richardson. Do you concussions than the day and day?
No.
Right?
I'm saying at the end of the day, you're gonna have to learn. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to learn how to throw the football. But I'm saying that it does
you have
stall.
to learn how to get down.
It stalls your progression. It stalls time for you to figure it out. Because if you're not able to run and you stuck, then the NFL is gonna swallow you whole. They're gonna swallow you whole. At least it gives you time. Yeah, it gives you time to like, okay, I can do this, and I can still I can simplify things with my throwing to a point now where I can get. So it's like you're learning on the fly, but I got my legs to it's like my legs are the cheat code. So when I do catch up to the mental game of the NFL, throwing the ball, throwing people open, reading defenses back, when I catch up, now I'm a problem. Now I can do this. I can run the football and I can throw. It's almost like for real. That's why I don't like Lamar Jackson. Let's use him as an example. Like he was leaning on this, not to say he can't throw because Lamar can throw. I don't like the argument. I don't like using. He can throw. He can throw good enough. But Lamar used his legs for a lot of the time to stall time. so his arm can catch up to what he does as a
Right.
as a
And so his
quarterback.
receivers got open too, but his receivers learned
Yeah,
to get open. I think
yeah,
that's
that
what
too.
Washington.
And they learn you.
And then
Yeah, they
I
learn
think it
you.
was Washington when you got Terry and Jahan, you got Dahami, right? Those guys know how to swivel and get in places and get open. Jaden or Drake have to be able to get them the football, right? With Jaden being a run, I just have ability. He's tall, lanky kid. How can he take the pounding, right? He remind me a little bit of Cam Newton,
Who?
the way he runs, the way he moves a
Oh,
little bit.
who
Jaden.
Jaden, like he moves, Roger. Okay.
Yeah, remind me of Cam a little bit. When Cam first came into the league, Cam wasn't as
Okay.
big as he was body wise, right? When he first came into the league,
He's big
Cam
though.
got,
He's
He
big.
looked good. He got bigger as he got along
Oh,
in
he
the
got
league, right?
bigger. Yeah. But he's not skinny like Jaden. Jaden's skinny.
Yeah, he's not skinny like Jaden, but he put you can tell Cam put on muscle.
Oh yeah, can't
Jaden,
put on big muscle. Put a big muscle.
Jaden needs to put on some muscle because he's gonna take a pounding, whether it's by him running or because of the offensive line didn't get itself together. We know Sam didn't do much running last year. When he did with some when he had to, but wasn't as much. Heineke 2 years ago was running for his life.
Yeah.
right. So you want to be able to have a balance, and whether it's Drake May or Jaden Daniels, you do want somebody who to be elusive and who's able to get the ball downfield because you have great receivers that can get open.
Yeah. So you went offensive lineman in your third pick. Am I correct?
Yeah, my third pick, I went offensive lineman. I went Garten, Rosengarten.
Yeah. And he's playing tackle. He plays tackle and guard, right?
Yep, he plays guard, tackle and guard out of Washington.
Out of Washington,
played in front of Penix.
So I tackled. So I went with a tackle early. So the only reason I went with a tackle early because this team needs to they didn't address. So this is like my thing, of what we're talking about what I think Washington's going to do. So they didn't address tackle at all, which I think is at all in the all season so far. I feel like that is something they have to be looking for. Like you have to be looking for a tackle. Like I'm not saying it first because you need a quarterback.
They went center and guard.
Yeah. So I went so I'm looking at the kid from Oklahoma. If you look right here on the bottom, number 60, out of Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. So like I said, I used him he can move, and we saw like with Trent Williams, he can move, right? And this is a dude who's extremely big, agile. He's raw though, like you know what I'm saying, like he's raw. So looking at I think he could be around. It's a possibility he won't be around though, to be real with you, like on the late second round because he's been in the early second round because he's been there's been talks that he'll be drafted late in the first round. You know what I mean? But players drop though. You know what I'm saying? Players drop.
Players drop. Things happen. People make moves.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see that he's a little high at times. He's a little high. But this is his first year starting. He's the first year starter. This is first year starter. He didn't start prior to this. So just like I've talked about Jaden Daniels and whatnot. Oh boy, definitely is a project. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I went with two tackles because I'm like, bro, I don't need Wiley on the other tackle. You know what I'm saying? I don't need Wiley. So I went with a kid from BYU. You know what I'm saying? Who was a 5-star recruit in Suamatea. I don't want to mess his name up. Suamatea. That's how you say it correctly. Out of BYU. 5-tool prospect. Didn't have raw just like Guyton. But got a mean streak. You see, look at that block, bro. That's a mean streak, bro. I want anger. You know how I want anger.
Yeah. But you look, I'm not gonna argue. I like the guy when you're gonna run the football right, you line up and you run the defense off.
That's what I'm saying. I want anger. So
you line up and you run the defense off.
Yeah. So in my mock, the reason why I went, 2 tackles off the second round, both of them, I went with them because we say this game was one in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at what the Niners did with their unit, they went in football. They was drafted in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? You got Bosa on the other side. But you had good offensive linemen, defensive linemen. They built their team in the trenches. Adam Peters comes from there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at, all right, we're weak in the trenches right now. You know what I'm saying? We're weak on that O-line. We're weak. Defensive line, you got Allen and Payne, but you still, you're losing some defensive ends that they picked up some guys, but you need to have you want to have more of a versatile front. You know what I'm saying? They picked up Armstrong from the Cowboys and whatnot, but you still want to solidify that unit anyway, right? You still want to solidify that unit. So did we lose Glenn? I see two Glens. There's two Glens now, man. What's happening? There's like two Glens. Now it's one me. Now there's okay. We're good. Now we're good. Yeah, I was like, "Where's two Glens?" I got confused.
I don't know, man.
There's two of them.
Stuff is weird these days, man. Stuff is weird these days.
But yeah, I went. That's how I went with that route. So that route in terms of just the trenches. But I had a question for you. Like we talk about not having, losing Montez Sweat and Trent and also Chase Young, and knowing that this team didn't have a pass rush. Now they've signed some people, you know what I mean, and we don't know if these people are going to be like you want to say Armstrong is going to be a 10 sack guy with when he gets the amount of reps he's going to get, he can get 10 sacks.
Right.
But we all know that you want to have fresh bodies out there. So for you, like what was your thought process when you was trying to get somebody, a pass rusher or whatnot? What was your thought process?
My thought process was like, you want somebody who's young, who's energetic, who can be teachable, right?
Okay.
Who habits can be easily broken, right? Who can adapt to the college game, who can get after the football. Understand, Montez Sweat was one of the best pass rushers there was because he understood his assignment. Sometimes he little go wide a little bit, but he didn't really go wide as much. He was always in his pass rush lanes. He was always around the football. My biggest thing with Montez that we really were talking about, he didn't finish the tackle, right?
Yeah.
He would get his hands
he
on
did. I know, so true. That is so true.
He didn't finish, right?
Yeah.
He'll miss by an inch. He'll slip off, whatever. He wouldn't finish. So you want a pass rush guy who's able to pass rush and be able to finish, right? Who get pressure on the disrupt the tackle, whether left tackle or right tackle, whether it's the guard or not. If they're running an X or they're running the stunt, you want to be able to do that. What I think will help the pass rushers in Washington this year is because you have linebackers, right?
Gotcha.
Because you have linebackers who are coming through the middle, who's coming to B gap or A gap, depends on the scheme, who will force things to bounce outside, right? And then the pass rushers who are there, the ends that are there, will be able to make up with some tackles and things of that nature. So I'm thinking, that was where I got a pass rush late because I said they brought guys, they brought guys in, and so I don't need it as a GM or a head coach. I don't need to go early.
Got you.
To get a pass rusher because I brought some veterans in that we banking on. So I need to get a pass rush later on in the rounds that can teach the young guy or teach the older. I mean, teach who can learn from the older guys to come in. So that's why I went one pass rusher. I thought Brennan. So I went him. So let it go out.
What about all right? So do you have the kid from Alabama starting off the rip? So he would start over. If you got him, do you have him starting over St. Jude's? I think you got.
I would make it. I talked about it last week with me and Ray. I'll make everything a competition, right?
Got you.
I have if I'm Dan Quinn and I'm a defensive coordinator, if I'm with, I have no starters.
Got you.
I come and tell everybody, I don't care what we did last year. I don't care what contract you have. I don't have any starters.
Got you.
I want you to compete for the job. I don't care where you got drafted at. I don't care what we paying you. Because everybody on Washington's defense last year can arguably say, you know what, they didn't live up to their potential.
Facts. So
there's not one person can say, you know what, I did what I was supposed to do 100% of the time.
Gotcha.
So guess what? It is open season on the defense. Everybody.
That's true. I figured that one. So out of your picks, Glenn, who do you feel like may not be available at that time where Washington may have to trade up to get him?
I think out of my picks, Kool-Aid ain't gonna be there.
Kool-Aid. So Kool-Aid will be gone by then.
I think Kool-Aid will be gone by then. I think Kool-Aid. I got them picking Kool-Aid 36 pick. I think Kool-Aid will be gone by then.
Okay.
I really think Kool-Aid will be gone and Jatavion Sanders will be gone by the time they get there.
Got you. Yeah, I think it's Sanders. There's a certain they have him going in the third round. Some people have him in the third round. Some people have him early second, mid second.
Hopefully they in there, but Kool-Aid. I think they need that corner. And I'm not knocking Forbes at all, right?
Yeah.
I'm not nothing against Forbes, nothing against any of those guys, but they need a corner because look who they play against in the division alone, right? You get CeeDee Lamb twice.
Yeah.
You get Smith for Philly. You get
And
Brown
AJ Brown. That's the problem.
and
You get them.
AJ Brown,
That's the
right?
problem. They're the ones
But
they're the ones you gotta get really ready for because you see two.
so you need guys to rotate. You need
Yeah.
guys. You need dogs.
Yeah.
And what Forbes showed me, I think AJ Brown's in Forbes' head. So he can't cover that dude. He ain't physical enough.
Yeah. I just feel like for him, we gotta judge him differently with a different coaching staff. That's how I look at it.
That's what I'm getting. I'm leaving it
I
open.
can't.
That's why I said competition.
He played for Ron Rivera. That's just it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, he
It
played
is
for
what
Ron
it
Rivera
is.
and
It is what it is.
Jack Del Rio. Again, that's why
Yeah,
I say
no
it's
problem.
open competition. You let
I agree
cream
with
rise
that.
to the top,
I
and
agree
you
with
tell everybody, "Hey, we don't have any starters. It's training camp.
that. Mhm.
Prove to me."
Nah, I agree with you. That's a good one
And
though.
people
So
and people say, "Oh, you can't do that in the league." You sure darn right can do that in the league.
no,
Look
you
at the teams that are
can.
real.
No, you can. You definitely can. Especially when you're rebuilding. You can do whatever when you're rebuilding.
Yeah, look at teams that are good. They had
Yeah.
competition, man. That's why they bringing all these people in to compete.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, if that was the case, Russell Wilson would never be in the league. Old boy Flynn was Flynn got paid millions. They signed him that season
Yeah,
and they paid him millions, and Russell took his job and
Russell took his
can't.
job.
Yeah, so no, I agree with you. Pete Carroll believes in competition. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Compete. Especially you want to rebuild, you can compete whatever. Like no one's like you say, Glenn, no one's job is safe when you're competing.
Yeah.
So Glenn, for you, then who we talked about I'll add mine in though. See, mine would be Guyton. I think Guyton's gonna be a first rounder.
Okay.
Be in the first round. He'll be late first rounder. So I think that Washington would have to trade up to get him. I don't think he'll be in the second round. But
who's this?
Guyton.
Mine's you got Guyton.
Yeah, that would be. You said Guyton. No, I'm talking about trading. I'm talking about trading up, trading back to get. Like you said.
Trading back to get.
Yeah. You said trading up. So trading up. You said George was Kool-Aid. You said George was Kool-Aid.
Yeah, Kool-Aid. Yeah, I would trade up to get Kool-Aid. I would trade up to get Kool-Aid.
Mine is Guyton. Like Guyton would be. Mine would be Guyton. I just think that Guyton is already. A lot of folks would want to get Guyton because of the same thing I said in terms of him being so big and so agile. Right. Like today, zone blocking, like he'd be amazing at it. Right. He kind of reminds me of a younger Tyron Smith on a low for real.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know I use Trent because I just love Trent because Trent's agile and a big boy. But I kind of think he reminds me of
Trent makes it look easy.
I know that's a problem. He makes life easy.
He makes it look easy.
Yeah, he makes life easy. So I would say him. So for you, in terms of, and you can go back to your board. For you, who would be like your sleeper? A guy that you feel like, all right, it's going to shock a lot of folks.
Yo, my sleeper will probably be Jalen Polk because I think like I said earlier, 1,100 yards receiving this year. He played on Washington.
Okay. He plays alongside a Daisy, right?
Yeah, Daisy, right.
Yeah.
Washington, and I think people might question why Washington get another receiver. As I mentioned earlier in my explanation, who's a deep threat that you could trust, right?
How tall is he? How tall is he? Because I think Washington receiver, they need a tall receiver. That's the problem.
I think he's tall. I think I gotta check his stats. But
all right, because I'm my only thing for the Commanders is I think they need to stop. I think another receiver is needed, and that's a good one because that dude gets open. So I know what you're going with that. So that's a good one.
He's 6'2",
and that's a value.
6'2", 205.
That's not bad.
6'2", 205. Go up again.
Terry,
That's not Terry's game, right?
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. They need somebody different. They need different. They need to. I'm with you. Go ahead. Bro.
Yeah. So he's my sleeper. I think when you get him, you bring him to camp, and you're like, oh dang. Mm-hmm. Especially if Kingsbury likes to run spread, where you got 4 receivers on the field.
Yeah. They need to
you got somebody that can blow the top off, get somebody get open, somebody can go underneath, somebody can go out. So again, you can do different things with your route tree when you have those multiple receivers on the field and guys that can blow the top off and things of that nature. Where you can where your curl routes, you can hide a Jahan, or you can hide a Terry in there. Where again, curl route gets a 7-8 yard curl can turn into 15-20 yard gains.
Okay, no, I'm with you on that. So I'm gonna give you my sleeper is boy. I saw a clip tape on him. Actually, I liked him more. I like production in college. I like production. I'm a big believer in production. And Utah's defensive end, Jonah Ellis, had 12 sacks last season, one of the top sack dudes in the country. And bro, when I looked at the film on this dude, bro, like the explosion, the motor, like we talk about Chase Young, not like look at the explosion here, bro. I know he's playing against a weak Weaver State, but look at the explosion. Look at this move, bro. The spin. Look at the spin. You know what times we talk about we want Chase to be able to spin? Look how fluent the spin was. The spin wasn't that play. Here's another spin. He's about to do another spin right now. Like I think look at this is straight rush. That was a spin. Actually, that was a spin. But look, like this dude has a spin move. He has a move. Like we always talk about not a dude not having a move. This man has a move. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna have to put on a little weight if we're gonna run a 4-3, but not that much. And I feel like again, he may not be a starter. Like he being a part of the rotation. You know what I'm saying? And a guy that you can use on third down. That's why I'm like, for me, he would be a sleeper. And also, Solomon out of Troy, one of the best sack dudes. He has one of the best productions in sacks in college, period, in his tenure at Troy. You know what I mean? Like I think he had 18 sacks this season, and he's a smaller dude, but he's explosive though, bro. Like he's explosive. Like look how he hits the edge. Like you know what I mean? Look how he just he can duck and get under the edge. Like to me, we talk about this when we were talking about like Chase or whoever. Like I'm use Chase an example. We talk about Chase. Like, can you get low? Can you dip low? You got a counter move. These dudes have that type of movement, and I feel like the one important thing, and we always talk about this, they have motors, and you see that out of old boy in Vegas and Crosby, and why he's so successful. Like you got a motor, and if you got a motor, you can get to the quarterback. You on mute? You on mute, Glenn?
Your motor starts with your heart, man. It got to be your mindset.
Yeah, facts,
right?
Facts.
It starts in here, right? It starts here. You got to be able to want to play the game, right? You got to be, and that's the thing. I've had a problem with, I had a problem with the other guy. I don't think sometimes he wanted to play the game, right? I think he liked to be out there. He liked to dress up. He liked to part, but then sometimes he didn't like to play the game. Unless it was easy. And when it wasn't easy, he didn't want to do it. And when he stopped his first move, he ain't had no other move. So when the young guys, even with the spin, have to develop other things, right?
Yeah.
You can't be a one-way just pass rush up the field, close the gap, squeeze. Learning how to squeeze down, right? That guard step down, you step down, come off the tackle, step down, you step down, come off the edge, boom, you're gone. Understanding those concepts of the game is what you look for in a pass rusher. I think he could be a sleeper. I think another one of my sleepers. Again, another one the sleeper that I think Isaiah Adams, right? The guard, another tackle that Washington he could be a sleeper. Eventually, we might be saying, you know what, that guy right there is very good and athletic. That he's winning a spot. I love to see offensive linemen compete and win spots because again, it makes everybody better. So you look at those type of people. I'm looking for a sleeper because I'm looking at this team to rebound. And I think you mentioned it and you said something that made me think this should be a Hard Knocks team. If you want, this should be the Hard Knocks team of the year.
I think you were Ray. As Ray or Mo said that. I know, but they said it. But I agree with that. Somebody said that. I remember them saying it. It should be though. You're right. Or maybe you said it, bro.
Might have been. Because, I mean, look at the drama that can go through this team, and look how this team is trying to rebuild. Mm-hmm. Because they are. Let's be honest. You said it several times while we on the show. They are rebuilding.
They are rebuilding. Completely rebuild.
So let's not be fans and say, you know what, Washington will be a playoff team. I'm not that crazy. Nobody's crazy. They will be better than last year, but this team is not as of right now for what we see. They're not a playoff team.
They'll be a better team. Not forget wins and losses. I'm gonna take that out. Let me take out wins and losses because anything can happen. I'm gonna take out wins and losses. They're gonna be a better run team, often like in terms of even coaching. They'll be a better coach team. Mm-hmm. So I'll put it. Sometimes that doesn't really equate to winning more or whatever, but it does equate to like when you be. So for instance, you could be a better team. Like for instance, Washington got blew out a lot last year, right? So say Washington loses one less game, but they're in every game. They're a better team than they were last year.
They're a better team.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So I don't like to go wins and losses, but you could tell when a team is better because they're in every game and the way they compete. So I just think they'll be a better team because they'll compete more. So
first thing Dan Quinn should do is this: throw the black freaking jersey, black uniforms away.
Oh, throw them trash. Those ones trash. Throw them things away. They trash. Throw them things away. But yeah, I'm just feeling like. But I do like. I like your mock. I like your mock draft. I think it's.
I like yours, dude, man.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's dope. And the thought process, is like, regardless of anything, it's a mock draft. So anybody, it's whatever the other team's going to do. They probably can find some folks out of an HBCU that can probably put up some numbers. So
anything to help this team win. I don't care who it is, right?
I don't care who it is, right? So I just feel like they're an opportunity. They put themselves in a good situation via trades and whatnot to accrue so many draft picks and good round draft picks where they can kind of better their team.
Right.
It's all about what you do with it. You know what I'm saying? I think we both have said this before. We gotta, regardless of the offensive, regardless of the draft or the or free agency, this team has to address the offensive line, the tackles. They have to.
Yep.
I don't care who your quarterback is. Like a young quarterback, you do not want to put him in a situation. I don't care if the quarterback is mobile as hell. You do not want to put him in a situation where he has to run for his life.
No.
That's just the truth.
Can't do that this year.
Can't so like that's one. And yeah, and I do want to get a receiver, just like you. Like I didn't get one in the draft, like early in the draft, because I was like the receivers I wanted. They weren't. I want them to be 6'4" and 6'5". I just need something different from Terry and Jahan. I need something that, like, I need
stands out.
It stands out. Like I need a guy like who can go get a jump ball for real. You know what I'm saying? Like not a guy who can run good routes. We have those. I mean, I want them to run decent, good routes. Don't get me wrong. But like that's why I like the kid. You said Pope. I like that one because I think 6'2" is fringe fringe tall. You know what I mean? It's like tall enough where
tall enough where you go get it. Tall
yeah,
enough where,
exactly. You know what I mean? Like, but we need to, like, Washington needs to have they need to have a different receiver. Like it's cool to have, like, Terry's great. Jahan had a bad year last year, but hopefully he'll be better.
They need an AJ Brown.
You still need something different. You need an AJ Brown. Yes, there you go.
You need an AJ Brown.
Yeah, AJ Brown. You need a old boy in Seattle. I can't think of his name right now.
Not Lockett. The other one.
Yeah, the strong kid. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, everybody. It'll come to me later. Metcalf. You need a Metcalf. You need somebody like that. Like you need a Marvin Harrison Jr. Then we're not drafting him. Like, all right, I know, but you know what I mean. A receiver of that ilk.
Sam Howell could have been some kind of quarterback. Like, could you imagine? Can you have Marvin Harrison Jr.? Anyway, that's a whole different conversation.
If EB ran a football, we would have Marvin. But anyway, and I love EB, man. I've been on this show.
Yeah, I know.
Toting the EB line, and I just had to go back and just be like, bro, yeah, if you just ran the football, maybe I was wrong. If you ran the football,
I've been telling you all year, run the football.
Yeah, you're right. Facts, no lies told. But yeah, I just feel like we go through this. Like, if they could just take care of business. Build your team in the trenches. I'm a big believer in that. If you're going to get a young quarterback, I mean, you're going to. There's not if. Sorry. So in the first round, when you get your quarterback, just make sure that next round you're helping whoever you pick is helping that quarterback. That's all I care about. To be honest with you, whoever you pick, and that could be a receiver for all I care. Real talk. That could be a receiver. I'm being real. If it's helping him, then you're good.
Yeah, if it's helping him is good, but if you get out of the first 2 rounds and you haven't drafted an offensive lineman yet, this team is wasted.
To me, second round, your first pick in the second round should be an offensive lineman. That's me. I think it should be a tackle.
I totally agree.
It should be the tackle off the rip. Like that should be your tackle. Or in the second round, if the tackle you want is close, then you got to trade up and get him. Regardless, trade up back in the first. Go get him. Go get him because you need to. Whatever you do has to build him. Because it's about your quarterback, you know what I'm saying? And this is the thing I said this before. Everybody wants Jaden Daniels because they feel like he can win games like now. But I'm saying, like, in my opinion, to that, my counter argument to that for anybody if that's your thought process, that's your premise, and it's because a lot of people, I've heard people say like, yeah, Jaden Daniels could probably win more now, but there's definitely a chance that May will be the better long-term prospect, like player. My argument. So if you think that way, how fast you think this turnaround is going to be? Like this is not this is not going to be quick. Like so, this is not an RG3 2012 thing. This is not that.
No. This is a 2-year process.
This is a 2 to 3 year process. I'm gonna keep the buck. 2 to 3 year process. And the process, me saying even that depends on what happens in year 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
They didn't spend. It ain't like they brought in players. They didn't bring in free agents here. So don't big name free agents. So it's not like they let you know what their expectations are.
Mm-hmm.
It lets you know because if they brought in like
1 year to prove it. You got 1 year to prove that you with us or not.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's all. They brought in guys to set the table. Like they brought in Bobby Wagner to teach. That's what they did. They brought certain players to teach the next young player. But they
Yeah.
gave you dudes. The dudes they brought in aren't like they ain't like they went and paid the bag to get your favorite free agent.
No, they
No, they
didn't put it
didn't do
back to
it.
get it. They didn't.
They didn't. So just letting you know, they let you know. So if their argument is like, oh, not Caleb, Jaden's is could be quick, like could be great off the rip, and we gotta wait on Drake May. I prefer you to say that you just think Drake May's gonna be bad. Then I'm cool with
Yeah.
that. Like if you say that, that's better. That's a better argument. But if you're telling me like Drake will probably be good, but it's gonna take me a couple years, then I'm like, yo, we have a couple years. We have a couple years, bro. Like we have it.
Yeah, we do have a couple years. You got a couple years to get your people in, do your things.
Yeah. It's like building
Only
program.
I think Kingsbury don't have a couple years.
That's okay.
But
he ain't. I look. The jury's still out on that old boy. I don't care. The jury's still out.
Yeah.
He ain't proved nothing to
I
me
tell you
yet.
this way, he better put points on the board. And not I'll be yelling, yo, should have kept EB. But
Yeah,
let's hold it.
you can't. Yeah, but EV didn't run the football. To your point, EV did not run the football, Glenn. So EB has only person EB can blame is
it's
he can blame himself, and he can blame Ron a little bit too. But he can blame he needs to blame himself too. So I do think he would have to blame himself. But yeah, this is our mock. That was our mock. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hey, before we roll out on this show, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Go Errrything. Also tweet us at ABG_Errrything and hit us up on IG at ABG_Errrything. And like our All Burgundy and Go Errrything Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Errrything YouTube channel as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button and like this video. Hey, man, Glenn and I appreciate you all for tuning in. Y'all the real MVPs. And real talk, we're gonna have during the NFL draft, we will do a live show during the NFL draft, and we're gonna probably have a special guest, and we're gonna talk about who the Commanders draft and who we think they're gonna probably draft in day 2 and the weekend. So make sure you tune in. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces. We out.